Investigate. Analyze. Uncover.
Hello everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Paranormal Prism. Tonight I am delighted to have with me Amanda Quill. Amanda is a paranormal investigator and she's got a fantastic brand new project that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But first, Amanda, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. And let's not tell anybody that you've hijacked your partner's laptop. Let's not tell anybody that at all. Let's not mention that at all.
It's fine. As long as you don't mention Bowser.
Yeah, and we're not allowed to mention Bowser either. Okay, let's go. We've got that clear. That's out of the way now. So, Amanda, yes, you, like I say, you got this new project that we're going to be talking about in a little bit, but you've got a long history of paranormal and paranormal investigators. So can we start at the very beginning to how you first got involved with the paranormal, please, and then we'll take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, it basically, for me, it began with ghost stories. I was absolutely obsessed at a young age, and growing up in Scotland, actually, I had a little bit more, I don't know, more kind of like, what is the word? I ran out of words. Sorry. Podcast's over.
Okay, bye. Nice having you.
But I definitely had a bit of a history with ghost stories and seeing them everywhere, and that kind of storytelling being open. And whereas in Canada, it's a little bit more, it's scarier. We don't talk about the ghosts. In Scotland, it was very open. So every place had a ghost. And one of the things that I was taught was, if you want to know about the ghosts, if you want to learn about the ghosts, you have to learn about the history of the place. So that was kind of ingrained in me really, really young. So I love ghost stories. So I just really, really got into it, let's say. Then when I was probably around 7 or 8 years old, I was at the library and I was taking out any book I could about ghosts, specters, anything, phantoms, and reading them up. And I came across a book and it was all about ghost hunting. And I was looking for the stories, and it was all this talk about like equipment and frequencies and just stuff that was just way over my head at this time. And I'm like, where's the ghost stories? I don't get this. I don't get this. And I remember like this fascination of like, wait a second, this is real. Like, people go out and do this. People are out ghost hunting. And I was like, I remember like write down all these names and put them in there for when I grow up. Because I thought that I was too young to ghost hunt at that point. Like, I was learning the ghost stories, learning the history. That's about it. But so I put it away. I put it away into my little vault, and I didn't actually go on my first ghost hunt until I was about 12 years old. But that's how I got started, with just a fascination with the stories and fascination with old places. And I know old places doesn't mean haunted, but just the history and the storytelling of that. I was so drawn to it. Yeah.
And it's, you're right what you say, because I always tell people that I'm from England, where the history comes from. And you were brought up in Scotland. We have so much history. Like, my local town is in the Doomsday Book. It's like, 12,000 years ago or whatever. It's not 12,000, 1,200 years. I was close.
Yeah.
I was born when the dinosaurs were there.
Oh,
yeah. So it's a long time ago. Whereas something like North America, that's only like 200 or 300, like the London Underground, the subway, is older than Canada. Yeah, that puts it into perspective a little bit.
It does. But it also too does, like, back to question. Yes, Canada is young, but this land is not young, and we've been here for thousands and thousands of years as well. So there is this deep history here that we're just kind of learning about, because, well, we're not learning about it. We're just revisiting, let's say.
Yes. Yeah. Let's keep it like straight and now. Revisiting. That sounds like a really good one. Yeah. So with the fact that you've got the Cree background, how did that influence your ghost hunting? Or did it influence your ghost hunting?
It's interesting because I didn't realize it did until quite recently. I would say the last 3 years, it's really kind of taken a hold that, wow, this really is part of who I am. I never married the two. I always kind of thought that ghosts were my thing. That's my kind of thing. Being part of what's called the Sixties Scoop here in Canada, I didn't know my background. I didn't know my kind of heritage. I didn't know my culture at all. So I didn't get that connection. And then, of course, when I got older, a lot of people would say, well, all Native people are psychic. And I was like, what? It's just odd kind of things like that, or just kind of belief systems, or anything that's haunted is a Native burial ground. So beyond that, I just thought that those were kind of, loose statements, a little bit lazy. And so I just kind of like separated the two. It wasn't until I reconnected with my culture that I saw that, like, I actually come from a line of people who dream in spirit. We walk with spirit. And it's fascinating to see that I've actually been with my culture this entire time, this entire journey, doing what my ancestor did. And it's way too much to talk about in 1 hour, but
Yeah,
it's so
for sure.
fascinating. It really is. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of ways, it really has nothing to do with my ghost hunting, and the same time it has everything to do.
Yeah, because obviously, with your culture, you're a very spiritual race, so to speak,
Mhm.
and you believe in spirits and and that kind of stuff. Where from England, we don't have the same kind of upbringing. We kind of see what's black and white and kind of move forward. It's sort of like people say that they believe in Jesus and God and that kind of thing, but we don't have the spirits and the folklore and the history that like
Mhm.
Indigenous peoples do.
Mhm.
And, you could go past an old building in England and people go, "Oh yeah, it's haunted, it's got ghosts," and you go, "Oh, okay," and you just move on.
Mhm.
But you guys get more involved with your heritage and your culture than what we do from like from England, for example.
Mhm. Um, Definitely. I think that there is a sacredness, and there is something very special about that, and it's something very special about the tie and the connection with stories and culture and people and the land. I think it's going through an evolution right now where that is the belief of a lot of people, that we're all connected to this and we all have this. But my upbringing wasn't any different than your upbringing. Like, I was raised by a white family in Scotland, so maybe there's a little bit difference. I ate more haggis, but other than that,
And they
other
speak
than
funny.
that, like, that was kind of my upbringing as well. And then when we look at people in Canada too, there is some restrictions where people weren't allowed to celebrate their culture. They weren't allowed to talk about their culture or share those stories or traditions down. So now we're at a place where there's a lot of healing going on, a lot of reconnection, and I think that that's the important part, is how beautiful is that, and how beautiful is that to share.
Yeah, and that explains the jet black hair, because people that eat haggis get jet. That's where it's come from. Just
Okay.
saying.
Yeah.
So let's go onto the paranormal bit. So you said that you went on your first investigation when you were 12. Can you kind of remember that, or is it kind of like I went on it, but I can't remember much about it?
I remember it all, and mostly because of how ridiculous it was, because I had no clue. I had no clue what to do. I basically, it was the Brablock Hotel in Paisley, Scotland, and I basically hid like in like hutches and buffets in a dining room, because I knew that they used to, for a while, I think there was midwifery there, and they they would they would tell us stories, but none of the stories really made sense. They said at 9 p.m. someone rings the doorbell and it's a ghost of people who are trying to make sure all the children are asleep. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I started learning the history of the building, and that's when I learned that a lot of women were lost in childbirth, and a lot of there was a lot of loss in that room. So I was like, well, maybe there's a connection there. So first I did want to debunk this 9 p.m. ghost. So what I would do is I would go up to our room and go to bed and go to sleep, and then I would sneak out and then go hide in the bushes outside of where the doorbell would be. And then of course my uncle would come up, ring the doorbell at the same time, and you learn a lot about people hiding in bushes.
So like weird,
Finding all
weird,
the-
weird.
Yeah. But then I was like, aha, that's not a ghost. I was like, yay.
Yeah.
So off I go to find my next ghost. So what do? I'm like in this room and I didn't know what to do, but I knew how I found or not found the last ghost. So I just hid inside little cabinets and I would hide in hutches and just sit there. And I don't know what I thought. Like the ghost would come walking through and I'd be like, ah, gotcha. But that's how I started my ghost hunting career. I've hidden in cabinets, like at the bottom of stairs, because I heard that there was tales that like people would be walking up and down stairs. I mean, that's basic, old school Quill ghost hunting, but that's how I got started. But I think we all got to get started somewhere. So I do remember it. I remember it very well. But the one thing that I took away that really caught me, and I think really got me on why I do this, is my uncle caught me in that it was a dining room at that point, and he did catch me trying to catch the ghouls, and he took me down to where there was kind of like a pub or a tavern in the basement of this hotel, and my cousins worked there, and they're quite a bit older than me. And so he's like, you want to see ghosts? Come, here we come. And then, so he's bringing me downstairs and I can hear it's getting louder and all the revelry. And my cousin comes out and kind of blocks us. And he's like, what are you doing? What is she doing down here? She can't be down here. And then my uncle, he said, well, she wants to learn about the ghosts. She wants to see the ghosts. So I'm bringing her to see the ghosts. And my cousin, the look in his eyes just changed. Everything about his demeanor changed. He's like, what? She's a child. What are you doing? Like, and just fear. And it was that fear. I was just like, oh, and this, like, I really, I believe his name was Fergus, but I really like looked up to him and I just thought he was like, I mean, I still do look up to him, and he's still a burly Scotsman, but I just was like, oh, and seeing that change in his demeanor when talking about the ghosts, when talking about what it was I was looking for as a child, and seeing how it can basically bring a grown man down, that fear, that stuck with me. And I've seen it a few more times in my life, when you just see someone who you think otherwise would be just the strongest, the most bravest, the kind of like what all the pictures of ghost hunters look like.
Yeah.
Just that moment of fear, that thing that will just tear us all down. I find that so interesting and so human. So that's what got me, and like that. So yeah, I do remember my first ghost hunt very well, because
it's just interesting that you just said that, because it just reminded me, because when I was in the UK, I was in the emergency services. Mm-hmm. So I spent like 13 years as a paramedic. And I remember having the biggest like biker like on the planet. This guy was huge and he'd broke his leg. It was covered in tattoos, similar to what your arms are. He'd got like sleeves both sides. And I went, I'm just going to stick a needle in your hand. He went, no, don't like needles. I'm like, dude, you're covered in tattoos. Come on. And it just reminded me of like, how frightened a big person can be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting, like that you mentioned, like how the bar was downstairs. So did you actually ever see anything in that location?
No, I didn't. My cousin ended up being a ghost blocker in that one. So I got sent back to bed and I never got to see anything. And I always wanted to go back and investigate again, but it's no longer there. So it's been taken down. But every so often I go on like the air pages and look, because there'll be memories of buildings that are no longer there.
Because I've only been in Canada for 13 years, mm-hmm. but when I was living in England, we had Most Haunted, which was like a film crew going around haunted locations. But all it was literally a scream fest. you got like a couple of girls, like as soon as the lights go out, the screaming started, and you were getting things happening. You go, come on, this is for entertainment purposes only,
Right.
kind of thing. And it's like that kind of put me off a little bit, but it wasn't until I came to Canada that I really got involved with it. So, when was your first legitimate paranormal experience?
I would say that I know of. I mean, probably closer to 13 or 14. And it was in a house that I lived in Vancouver. And it was, I mean, I guess the jury is still out on what ghosts are, but this was definitely poltergeist. I just said poltergeist. It's a new.
You did.
Yeah.
I was going to let that go, but you raised the point, so it's like,
yeah,
call yourself an expert.
Yeah, there are no experts. I'm an expert on poltergeists. I don't think you know anyone else that has studied them as thoroughly as I have.
Yeah, just created a new spirit.
Yeah. But it was pretty intense. There would be a lot of things flying across rooms. There was books coming off of bookshelves, crown molding popping right out of the ceiling, well, the walls at the top. There was a lot of kind of just odd things that if I hadn't seen with my own eyes, there's no way I would have believed it. Things coming out of cabinets. Now this was a house. I was a ward of the court at this point, and it was a home. So there was 8 of us females in between the ages of 13 to 16. And we're all going through some sort of loss, grief, trauma in our lives at that time. So it was a very intense emotional place to be anyway. But then you add that onto it, and it was brutal. But it was always when we were upset, and it always seemed to act out in ways that protected us. So if staff were coming towards us, books would come flying at them. So things like that. So it was really interesting. We named him George because you always name a ghost George. Yeah. And then we had a woman come and visit us once, and she came in, went through the whole place, and it was me that gave her the little tour, and she got very emotional, and she had lived there when she was younger, and she was telling me stories that were quite emotional. And then right before she left, she looked at me and she said, "Have you met him yet?" And I was just like, She's just like, "This place is haunted, but he's here to protect you. Don't be scared." And I was like, "Wow, what are you talking about?" And right before she left, she turned to me and said, we used to call him George." And I was just like,
wow. Wow.
Yeah. And it was in that home that I actually met one of my key workers, and Kate Sully, great woman. And she actually was involved with paranormal investigation. And the minute I walked in the door, she's like, "Whoa." She's just like, she's like, "You can feel them under your feet. You can feel them in the ground. You can." And I was just like, "What are you talking about?" And she was this zany lady from Scotland. And I didn't have much of an accent at that point because in school, they really were working on getting rid of it because they couldn't understand me over here. But she picked up on it right away. And she's like, "What part of Scotland are you from?" And I was like, "What?" Like she just, blew my mind.
Wow.
But she got me involved with these other 2 ladies who were the only 2 paranormal investigators in Vancouver at the time. This is back in the 90s. And we just went out there, and I got brought along from the age of 17 on to actual houses and home investigations. But they would bring me along when it was younger people or there was children involved because they thought I was closer to their age. I could relate more. But yeah, it was amazing. So I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. And it's amazing that you mentioned about about George wanting to protect you, because one of the ideas about poltergeist is that it's because of the emotional energy of adolescent teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
So that would kind of fit right into that box of this is Exhibit A,
mm-hmm.
and exactly why it happened.
Yes. Yes, it does, and that's I really go with that thought. And whenever I'm at homes, and it's actually funny because on this on the TV show, one of the producers I work with now, he quite often he'll be like poltergeist, hey, and he's like he's like it's like it just cracks me up because I was looking at him like, what are you like? He's just like, it's them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you're learning, and it just he looks so proud of himself. But I'm like, yeah, like that's definitely like, you know, a school of thought when it comes to that, and I definitely believe in that. Like I to this day I can really affect the things around me with my moods, or when I'm talking activity and stuff. My partner and I lived in a house in South Carolina, and it would just, if I got frazzled, the house got frazzled, and it was like, is that you or is that the ghost? Because it was one of the most haunted places I've ever been. But yeah, there was times where I was like, I don't know if that was me, because I'm like, and then ping, you hear something pinging off the wall. So
Yeah.
I think we do bring a lot of
So
our
would you say that you've got mediumistic skills, or would you say that it's because of your culture that this is kind of coming to the forefront?
That's an interesting question. I am a psychic medium. I'm claircognizant. I don't generally use that in my investigation until recently. So it's quite interesting that when I'm now reconnecting with my culture, that I'm seeing that a lot of this is in me. I've been doing this my whole life, but I always kept them side by side. So when I do group readings or when I do readings with people, I do them on like that's that side of me. And then my paranormal investigation, I'm very much more into the evidence and the equipment and being of logic rather than just, oh, I have a hunch about something. And then I'm realizing now that the two can marry. And it's an interesting journey for me because I've never done that before. And as on Unsettled Spirits, you kind of see that journey for me. And now my son, he's on the show as well. And he's starting to open up to me about his stuff. And that he sees, he's clairvoyant, and he's I think he's more claircognizant than he knows, because I think that's a tough one. You just don't know. You just think you're a know-it-all, or like, you know, things click for you. You're like, yeah, oh no, I'm right, you're wrong.
I know everything.
I know everything, but I don't know it
Yeah.
till I know it. You know, like it's
Yeah. Yeah, because it's because I spent all this time in emergency services, you can only deal with facts. Yeah, if you've got a car accident, for example, you can only deal with what you see, and sort of like then you have to deduct what happened to the car before, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I kind of put that into my paranormal investigating as well. So a lot of my equipment that you can't see, that's kind of off camera here, I have a lot of the like I'll have a tri-field meter. I won't use a K2, but I've got a tri-field because they use that in construction. So it's a recognized piece of equipment that you can use for EMF and such like that.
Mhm.
And I have a black mold detector. Black mold can create hallucinations. I
Mhm.
have carbon monoxide detector. Exactly, yeah, and all these kind of things. So I rule out everything of a
Mhm.
natural phenomena
Yeah.
before I go down the road of, well, maybe this is a spooker and maybe we can speak to somebody from the past, kind of thing. You have
Mhm.
to rule out the logic before you start thinking about. And it seems like that you're exactly the same way. You don't use your mediumistic skills because
Mhm.
you want to see the facts before you start concentrating on, is this a spirit or is it something else?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I definitely believe. However, I don't let that belief cloud what's going on, especially when there's families involved, or anyone. My biggest thing is just that comfort for people. So if we can figure out what it is, I mean that's our job. It's our job is not to convince anyone that ghosts are real, or any of that fun stuff. But yes, I definitely, I'm with you on the environmental meters. I'm definitely with you when it comes to kind of finding those data points and then being able to kind of look at it logically and explain what could be happening. Can we recreate it? And if we can't, let's have some fun and figure out what it is.
Yeah, 100%. And I was speaking to a guy last week, and I actually released the episode tonight. He doesn't like to call himself an investigator because we're not really in the job to prove things, but he calls himself a paranormal experiencer because he wants to experience the paranormal more than anything else. If it is real, because of course we don't know, there's nothing out there to say it is, but he wants to experience that for himself. And it doesn't matter if I experience something and you're stood next door to me and you don't experience it, because as far as I'm concerned, it's something personal to me that's happened.
Right.
And if you tell me a story that is so far-fetched, I can't call you a liar just because I didn't experience it when I was at that location. And that's the kind of mentality that I kind of focus on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the being able to kind of, what is it? Like, no, verify it rather than just be like, yep, he said it. It happened. Yep. Because some of the things that we hear are like completely and utterly wild. And I love that about it. You know, like I love when someone says to me, okay, what I'm about to say is going to sound so crazy. And I'm like, oh, you have no clue. And then I almost want to give them like a little bit of a medal or a ribbon if it actually is. And I'm like, what? I'm like, but that does it. It's also like it's a responsibility too when you hear those things to be open-minded and to be fair and reasonable for the people, because they're terrified. They're uncomfortable. They can't go to their friends or their family or their work. They can't go to work and say, I didn't sleep last night. I'm really having a bad day because blah, blah, blah happened. And they're coming to us, complete strangers, and saying, help. And I think that, you know, it is a responsibility and we owe it to them to do all those things and to look at all the different things of what it could be. Yeah, I do. I used to always struggle with the scientific and pseudoscience and this and that. And I would get wrapped up in that, like, don't call me this or don't say this or don't say that, until I realized that that's why we're not moving forward. It's because we're not getting over that. Like, it's not a science. That's just the way it is. We're trying to do it scientifically, but until we actually all agree that nobody knows what the hell they're doing. I mean, we all do know what we're doing specifically, but like you said, my experiences aren't your experiences. Your experiences aren't mine. It's all about perspective, and it's all about actually bouncing this stuff off and bringing other people in. And, you know, it's really hard to do that when we're just trying to prove ourselves rather than, you know, believing each other the way that we believe our clients.
That's it. And at the end of the day, if you can prove to somebody, like, typical example is EMF. If you've got faulty wiring in your property, if the EMF is that bad, it can cause hallucinations. So even if you pinpoint exactly what the problem is, remove that from the scenario and everything stops, you've still helped that person. Regardless of the fact, you have solved the problem that was making this person hallucinate. You've taken away the EMF. Job done. Thank you very much. I'm happy I could help you. Doesn't mean just because we didn't find a ghost or a spirit. Yes, we're slightly miffed about it, but we've helped that person at the end of the day, and that's the be all and end all of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's what it should be. I mean, it's very fun and it's very exciting when you get that capture. But I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's not where your intention should be.
No, 100%.
As odd as that sounds, because
yeah. So let's start moving towards modern day. So I'm hoping I've got this in the correct order, but you created Cold Spotters Paranormal Investigations and Events. How did that come about?
That came about, that would have been 2012. And it came about for just basically a need to have something different than what was happening at that time. Now in Vancouver, um, I left Vancouver, so I actually moved and I traveled. I do that quite often. I've lived in all sorts of places all over. But I was over in Montreal for a while. I said I was like not too far from Ottawa. So I was investigating on that side of things. I lived in Edmonton for a while, investigated up there. So I was all over the place and I was lone wolfing it, as I say. I just did it on my own. But back then, that's how you did it. You didn't have teams, at least over in Vancouver, we didn't. And now I know that there's claims from some teams of like, we've been established since and we've been together since. And I'm like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. And so I left Vancouver for a while and I came back and there was teams everywhere. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So then I just went to my regular places that I would go or got a hold of the people that I knew. And they're like, oh, no, no, no. Like we, ever since Ghost Hunters was on TV, they ruined everything. And I was like, well, have they, if everyone's so interested in it and it's all jumped up now, like, but so I went to some of these meetups and these reveals and these events to meet people. And all I met were people wearing the same black hoodie with their arms crossed. And when you ask questions, they just hand you a piece of paper and tell you to get a hold of them when they're, and I was like, whoa, this isn't, and then I approached some, they're like, well, I said, well, I'm an investigator as well too. They'd be like, oh, where do you investigate? And I'd be like, I've investigated all over North America. And like, what does it matter? Like, what is it? Like, do we have resumes here? And then I get like, oh, that's cute. Oh, you go to ghost tours, or oh, that's cute. And I got called cute. I got pat on the head once. I got called cute. And I'm like, how long have you been investigating? And this fellow that did that, he'd been investigating for almost a year and a half.
Ooh, expert.
Yeah, this is 2012. I told you I started in the 1993. So anyway, but I was like, excuse me, like you don't even know. Like I was like very, very like put off by it. And I applied to be on some of these teams by filling out their little application form. And then I was like, I have to go for interviews and I have to get out there all this. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I didn't even send them in. I was like, this is garbage. How is anyone supposed to learn? So I was just like, well, maybe figure something out. Now there was a meetup group and there was a fellow who had contacted them and put on their forum, hey, is there anyone out there that just wants to get together and go to haunted places? And I was just like, ah. And this was months ago. And it's just like, is this group even active? Is there any interest in starting a new group? And it's crickets. So I finally emailed him and I said, did you ever get a response from anyone? And he's like, no. And his name was Calvin. And I said to him, I'm like, well, hi, I'm Amanda. Let's meet up. And I think we went and had coffee that Sunday. No, we went and had lunch and we sat there and we discussed what he wanted. I discussed what I wanted. We said, like, what do we want to do for like the community? And he was just like, well, maybe make something where people can come out and do things. Like, we don't want to go to the same thing and sit there and watch the boring, dry, this is an EVP catcher. This is my light that blinks, like it was just that bad. And so we did, and we started Cold Spotters right then and there. And what we did is we started it. We didn't ask anyone any questions. If they wanted to join, they wanted to learn, you're a Cold Spotter. And we blew up like so fast, so quick. We have teams all over the world still, but it was just based on that. And what we did was community events. We did luncheons every month. We did all that kind of stuff, but we kept it very core when it came to our little group that actually investigates, that goes to homes. So that's where we had the standards. Let's say not standards. Oh my God, that's horrible. But That's where, like, if you were coming off and you were just being a jerk to people, you're not coming out to investigations with us. Let's
No,
be honest.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're starting fights with people, you're gone. But everyone has the opportunity to join, and everybody has the opportunity to come ask questions and learn with us and do that. But if you prove yourself to be not trustworthy, you weren't going to be with us long. So that's kind of how we did it.
Okay. Yeah. And I agree with what you're saying. I was talking to a friend of mine and I was telling him that I was doing paranormal investigation. He started laughing. So, what are you laughing for? He went, it doesn't exist. And I went, so you've written a paper on this, have you?
Yeah.
He went, what? I went, you've got evidence to prove that it doesn't exist. He went, well, no. So I says, well, how do you know it does? How do you know it doesn't?
Mhm.
I says, being an investigator doesn't mean that we go out, oh, that was a ghost, that was a ghost, that was a ghost.
Mhm.
We investigate what people experience. And if we can find a natural phenomena, like I said a few minutes ago,
Mhm.
doesn't have to be a ghost, doesn't have to be a spirit, but we've resolved the issue. If we can't explain it, and we both know that this, oh my God, I've been attacked by a cryptid.
I really didn't think we were going to do that. Let's go, cool, everybody.
So like, yeah. So like, hi, cat fucking like,
Yeah.
really? Yeah. But it's like, yeah, if you can get some evidence that nobody can explain,
Mhm.
and I've got a pile of evidence that people can't explain what it is, and it's fabulous because, okay, if it doesn't exist, explain this, and they can't, and
Mhm.
that's the great thing about it.
Yeah. Someone distracted me.
I know, right? It's sort of like
That's
big
not
furry thing
fair.
coming across the
Yeah.
screen. So, do you have any outstanding stories from Cold Spotters?
Just the cold spotters in general, I think is. I'm so proud of my team here and what we've done and the teams that we have like around America. We don't even have other teams in Canada. We have teams in America, Netherlands. We have a lot of like activity going on with that. But with actual investigations, yeah, we've done some really really cool ones, and I've been so lucky to work with so many different investigators over the years with cold spotters that it's, I don't know, like there's so many stories. We go on a trip every year. Usually we go on a road trip. I think the coolest one is that we did is we all went to Waverly Hills down in Kentucky. And that was really, really cool. Just to get that many people together and to investigate such a big building like that was really cool. We've done Savannah, Georgia. We've done more than just around Vancouver, but in Vancouver, um, I'm really excited for what we have coming up on Unsettled Spirits, because now with my team, like we're cold spotters, and we got to investigate a few places in New Westminster that are really cool that we hadn't actually had the chance before. So it was kind of nice to see a little bit of that access being offered to us. But that's been years and years of seeing us active in the community. So I think that that's my, I don't know, cool story is just the growth of cold spotters in general. But I know you want ghost stuff.
Well, let's come back to that because obviously let's start talking about Unsettled Spirits now, because you've been in a few other TV shows, but that's not why we're here. We're here because of your brand new project, Unsettled Spirits, which, and I've got it written down because you sent me the information today.
Yeah.
It's going to be, its premiere event is September the 2nd on the APTN, which is the Aboriginal People's Television Network, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So, apparently, you're the lead investigator, Amanda Quill. Funnily, that we got talking about that. So,
Yeah.
how did Unsettled Spirits come about, and what can we expect in the show?
Well, it came about. I was extremely, extremely, extremely lucky to get a call from two wonderful, wonderful women about Wapatnock. We were talking about pronunciation, but yeah,
What was it again?
Pardon me.
What's
Yeah.
it called again?
Sorry, would you like me to say that again?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, Wapatanak Media, and it was Shirley and Tanya got a hold of me and just kind of were interested in the investigation world and in the paranormal world and what that looked for Indigenous teams. And being an Indigenous investigator, being a lead investigator for as long as I have, I was extremely lucky that they reached out to me. And working on this project's been absolutely mind-blowingly crazy and cool, and like so much growth with me as an investigator. As much as I thought that this might hurt the actual investigation side of things, it hasn't, because I've actually been given this opportunity to do things the way that I do them, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so excited for it to actually come out, because this is a TV show. Yeah, we got ghosts. Yeah, and we're like, what was that? All those things. Yes, but it's actually more of a story. We're actually telling ghost stories, and we're telling from the way that we do it. We look at the land. We look at the actual situations that are going on in people's lives, and we talk about that. But we also talk about what's going on in our lives. I don't think it's fair for me to go in and just tell ghost stories and show the people that are affected by these ghost stories without being a human myself. So I always bring that kind of element to my investigations. Like I said, I lone wolf a lot, just kind of go out on my own, set my expectations, my intentions down. And my team is like amazing too. Being with Nathan and Kayla, both of them are cold spotters. Nathan's my son, so he's been doing this now for quite a few years as well. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm blabbling now because I'm excited.
I would have never guessed that you was excited. So there's 13 episodes coming out.
Mhm.
Did you have any say in the locations, or was that the production team that picked those locations?
I definitely did have a little bit of say on some of them. I brought them a few different locations that I was interested in doing. And then it really doesn't work for a TV show. Is this going to be, I don't know, good TV? And that was a literally learning thing for me too, because it's like, I mean, I can take you to a haunted graveyard all day, but does that make good TV? So it was really good to be able to give them my suggestions and my thoughts, and even actual calls that we were getting, give them that, and then they kind of do their stuff in the background and then come back. And a lot of times it may have been a suggestion that I gave them or a call that we got, but it was them that kind of surprised me in the end by actually taking it or putting us onto the cases. And further investigations that we've done too, like I've said, oh, this would be like a bucket list place, and they're like, ta-da. So it's kind of yeah, it's kind of nice. Like they do take into consideration our journeys in our stories and where we are in our lives, and as investigators, as family members, as friends, and community members too. So yeah, it's really cool. So a little bit of both.
Okay, so I've spoken to TV mediums before,
Mhm.
and some of them like to go to these locations 100% blind without knowing any of the history about the land or the building, whatever, or the paranormal activity.
Mhm.
Did you ever do that within this series, or did you always know where you were going?
I knew where I was going a couple times, but the majority of the times my shock and oh my gods are genuine, because I didn't know, or I think something that I terrified them with was I didn't know the stories, and I didn't know. I'm like, this is a great place, they got great activity, let's go. And they're like, well, what's the story here? And I'm like, we're gonna find out, let's go. And I think for TV, that's scary. That's scary for them, it's scary for me too. So it is genuine, it is authentic. We couldn't do this series without that. And there were times where I was like, come on, give me the notes. Give me the notes. Like, because you do worry. You do worry that you're just going to completely and utterly like go, I don't know, left field and let down your clients and let down the people watching and just kind of really, mess it up. But we didn't, and that was so eye-opening for me to be confident in what I do. And it's just like, even like the first episode, that one blew me away, absolutely blew me away with everything that happens. And I can't talk about it yet, but I can talk about that it's an episode now. So
that was going to be my next question. Can you talk about any of the episodes? No. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. So we're going to be going to Funky Winker Beans. And one thing that you don't see in the show, and I will share this because it was like, what for me? And my phone might go off as soon as I'm done. No, but is I went there. I'd gone there once before, and I gotten a chance to kind of look around the building, and I went downstairs into the basement, and I turned the corner, and I was walking into the basement, and it's freaky down there, and I don't see things that often. Like, it's not like I'm ghost there, that's not who I am or my abilities.
Can you do that again, please?
Yeah. But I oh my gosh, it was wild. There was this woman, this shorter woman, and she was wearing like a white nightie, and I looked at her and she looked at me. We both looked a little bit surprised. But when she saw me, she just like, her jaw drops and she was just like, oh my gosh. And she came running for me, like, help. And I was just like, what do I do? So I did whatever Ghost Hunter does and I ran. No, I'm kidding. But I was just like, but as she runs towards me, she just vanishes. And I was like, oh, and I scuttle upstairs and I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, we need to film here. This is absolutely, like, they need help. And that was I was like, they need help. And the producer says, what happened? And they're like, get her out of here. No more, not without a camera, like, save it for the camera. But it was absolutely, so going into that investigation, I was already worried. I was already concerned because I knew what I saw. I knew it felt real. It was intense. And now I'm bringing my son and a newer investigator in there as well. And I haven't told them a thing. So it was so challenging for me to do that kind of balancing. We did bring another medium in there. And I think in the preview, you can see, and she does like evidential mediumship. So she used to be a courtroom artist.
Oh yes, got
yes. Yeah. And so she draws portraits, and she does like almost like I do automatic writing, and she does the automatic drawing. And what we come up with together is so fascinating and blew my mind away.
So the fact that you've got your son with you, do you still do the protective mother kind of thing, or do you go, you've got your skills, there's a basement, and then just push him down it? Or how does that kind of play out?
I am a little gentle nudge. No, that is something that I didn't realize was going to be part of my development as an investigator, as a lead. Not only my son, like a lot of the kind of yeah, we have a very new investigator in with us as well, and here I just want to get in there and go. I forget that not everyone has done this their entire life. Not everyone is okay with this, and there are some scenes where that I've actually seen that I'm like, oh my God, you're going to show that, because I am a little bit like, I don't know, not disassociated from it, but that fear level where I can see them all like, I don't know about this. And I'm like, it's great. Turn off the lights. Get in there. Slamming the door closed. Like, woohoo, go get them. And then I'm like, oh, wait. like I'm very calm and cool in these situations. And it really was eye opening for me to be like, okay, maybe be a little bit less like, whatever, go, and be, cognizant of that. And having my son yeah, because you do. I start watching him, and I noticed that sometimes like he's doing things, and there's me in the background like, watching him, and it's like I'm very protective of both Nathan and Kayla, and Lily. She's another one of the investigators that we meet along the way in the season. I'm very, very protective of them and very aware of what they're doing or what's happening and their levels of fear. But at the same time, I don't want to take any of the experience away from them. And I don't want to, I don't want to overwhelm them, but I don't want to like completely and utterly shelter them either.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
And it's sort of like going back to my previous career. We're the kind of people that get called in an emergency, so everybody's running that way and we're running towards it.
Mhm.
And you can kind of bring this into the paranormal world as well. Whereas I always laugh that, can you please make, if there's anybody here,
Mhm.
make a noise? They get a noise and then they run.
Mhm.
And the ghost is kind of like, dude, you asked me to make a noise. I made a noise for you. And then you left me.
Yeah.
So why? Why did you bother asking me to make a noise when you're not going to bother
Yeah.
hanging around? Whereas if I hear a noise, if I hear some, like, I'm inquisitive. I want to know what it is because, you say that you can see spirits sometimes and you can feel all of that kind of stuff. I want to experience exactly what you're feeling. I want to see what you see. I want to hear what you hear, and I want to feel what you feel. And that's part of your learning curve. If you're going to get involved with this, you have to embrace it with open arms and take everything in. Yes, you could be in locations where you're scared, but 9 times out of 10, these spirits won't hurt you. 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But it's a learning curve as well. So if you want to do this, there are going to be times when you're terrified or you're scared because you don't know what's happening, and that's kind of mother figure to the professional emergency service. You can kind of relate to it.
Yeah. And I think like you're absolutely right. Like we go running towards it. And I think that was the one thing that I found was my, like, maybe my boundary, especially with Nathan or with myself too, and Kayla is the safety of it. Like I always think about that first. Like I would hate to. My cat just attacked me.
Meow.
He's done with this interview. Done with it. No, but yeah, it was paranormal. But I'm probably a few scratches on my feet now. But yeah, it's just that boundary of, is this safe? Are people going to watch this and then go running into unsafe situations because of what they've seen or what they, So yeah, what we do can be very scary at times, but we do it with keeping each other in mind. We do it with that kind of connection to, is this safe? Is this stupid? Is this, is this smart? So I'm confident that when I just throw them into a basement dungeon and lock the door behind me and leave them there, that they're going to be fine. Right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's right. Yeah, it's a dynamic risk assessment.
Yeah.
Let's go into that basement, but first, let's make sure that the stairs are safe. It's what a natural human being does. But
Exactly.
when you start speaking about the paranormal, it's slightly different because we technically don't know what we're experiencing. You can see spirits of people, or you can hear spirits of people, but a lot of people talk about, well, there may be dark entities that we are unaware of. So if these entities do exist, you still have to be cautious. You can't go into a building or whatever, guns blazing, because you don't know what you're going to come into.
Well, and good investigators as well, like we discussed at the beginning, like we are doing the environmental checks. We are checking our environment. We've done perimeter checks. We know what we're getting into. We're not just running in there because we feel something dark and let's be honest, if we really thought that there was a demon in that back corner, we're not running for it. No one is. And so when we start
I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you there.
Yeah, I'm going to push my child into it and close the door and tell him to have at her because I believe in him. No. But yeah, so we definitely are cognizant of our each other too, because it's also it's not just me, it's him too. He's got to It's funny. We had a conversation at one of the locations we head to this season, and he was just like feeling it. He was just like, I realize like this is what you do. Like you do this all the time. Like, and now we're doing this together all the time. Like he'd come out with me. Like he's been coming out with me since he's 14, but probably I definitely wasn't taking him to those big intense investigations, and we both kind of realized that on the same night, like we're in the deep end now. And he was just like, he's just
Mom,
like, I don't know if I can do this. Like there is that moment, and I could just tell in his face that was there, and but he was going to be there for me. He was there, as much as he may have had those doubts. And I just remember saying to him, I wouldn't have you here if I didn't think you were going to be safe. I wouldn't have you here if I thought you were, if you were in over your head. You're not. He's one of the most thoughtful investigators that I've worked with in a long time. And that is rare. Thoughtful investigating is really rare. Like he's thoughtful of spirit. He's thoughtful of everyone in that room with him. He's like beyond just us as the team. He's thoughtful of the crew. He's thoughtful of the people watching. He's the one to watch, but watch me too. No, but he is very, very, very kind of centered and strong that way. And Kayla too. I mean, she's just a sponge and she's just learning all of this. And from where we started to where we are now with Kayla, it's amazing. She's just, she's the one running and throwing us in the rooms now.
I'm sorry, but Amanda got pushed into a dungeon. The door was locked, and we never saw her again. Thanks, Kayla. Yeah.
Yeah. New season. Yeah. Kayla's the lead. Smart. She's a smart investigator.
So, overall, not just for this TV show, but overall, have you ever been to a location where you definitely did not want to be? Yeah, is it sort of like there's something bad in there, and I don't want to tackle it. I'm leaving.
Yes, definitely. Yes, there's only been one that I left though. So there's definitely been a few that were like, oh my God, this is intense. I've dealt with some dark stuff, the kind of energy that physically pains you. That's just, it's not natural. It's not nice. And that's why I always say with all these shows right now, going after the demons, like, you're not, you would know. It's something else. Now, that being said, I've also been in situations that I went ghost hunting and met something else, or that I basically kind of careful what you ask for kind of situations where you're like, okay, show yourself. And then it shows itself and you're like, and just absolutely frozen in like, okay, you asked for this. You like, this is, I've had things communicate to me in ways that I've heard about in movies or on podcasts that I'm like, no. And then it happens to you and you're like sitting up in bed for like 6 nights after, like, what the hell just happened? So yes, there's been situations where I almost stopped doing what I do. And I had to build back up and make a conscious decision if this was something I was going to do. And I did, and I overcame things, but it took me years. And one of the biggest things that I will say is there's a big hairy monster in the forest up here in British Columbia that it's something else when you experience it.
That sounds cool. When are we going?
Whenever I'm free, like I just gotta finish this podcast.
Okay, yeah, I'll jump in the car.
Yeah,
jump in the car, start driving. Take me a few days to get there, but I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, Amanda, we are coming towards the end, unfortunately, but I could talk to you all night, and I've got so much more to talk about. So, you girl, you're going to have to come back on after this season, and then we can talk about the entire season. How does that sound?
Yes.
Does that sound like a great idea?
Absolutely.
But, great. So, just remind people when, where, and they have to watch. Otherwise, I'll be after them. Go for it.
So September 2nd on APTN and ATPN Plus at 9 p.m. is going to be our first one, and then we're going to be in that spot for the rest of the season. Yeah.
Excited.
So, I'm so excited. I'm excited for everyone to see and to meet everyone, because I mean, yes, there's me and Jesse, but there's also we each have a team, and so you get to meet Kayla, Nathan, Aisha, and Brandon.
See, I expect a free selfie when we meet, right? Sort of like this one's on the house. Click.
Yeah.
So apart from being excited because you've got this show coming up that we've not mentioned at all in this podcast,
yeah,
what else is on the agenda for Amanda?
I'm going to have a big long nap. My cat needs some attention.
Yes, it's like mom.
Yeah.
Right, get off.
Yeah. Well, I always got things going on. My it's almost Halloween, so tis the season. I'll be out there doing ghost tours, and yeah. So if you're ever in Vancouver, come to New Westminster and come take in the ghost of New Westminster.
I will definitely do that. But for now, Amanda, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've loved talking to you. I'm glad that I managed to get you on before the premiere of the new TV show. Good luck. I hope there's a season 2. But for now, thank you for your time. Yeah. It's still quite early in Vancouver, so time for a beer or two. But yeah, but thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. You take care and have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.